mercy, the friend of the poor, and all master of the devotees. Oh, master, be merciful. Before reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, we should first offer our respectful obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Narayan, to Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, Srila Vyasadeva, the author, and to Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Visesha Sunyavari Paskichati Satarni. So this is the last verse of chapter 6 in Canto 3, and it's called The Creation of the Universal Form. So we'll just go through the Sanskrit. Let's see, get my other glasses here. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. You know, so this is a kind of verse at first look I thought, but then I started listening to some things that Prabhupada had said and some other God brothers, and now I feel like if I could somehow just figure out how to synthesize everything that's in my head about this verse and this purport, it would be really nice. But you just have to pray to Super Soul that I can say something that will enliven the devotees, because this is an extremely important event in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Of course, they all are. Anyway, I'll go ahead and do the verse. Yato. Okay. So, apratya. It's supposed to be 40. She did 39 yesterday.
No, she did 38.
She said she was going to do 38, but then she did 39.
Yeah, we'll do 40.
Anyway, I remember she had it written 38. She said I was looking at the wrong chapter, and then you changed it to 39.
That's okay. He's going to do 40, please. Anyway.
Okay. So, yato aprapya navartanta yato prapya navartanta vachas cha manasa saha vachascha manasa saha
Vachascha manasa saha
aham chanya
chanya
ime devas
devas
aham chanya ime devas
aham chanya ime devas
tasmai bhagavate
bhagavate
namaha
namaha
tasmai bhagavate namaha
tasmai bhagavate namaha
yuto prapya navat anta
tantu prapyani vartanta
vachascha manasa saha
Vachascha manasa saha
aham chanya ime devas
aham chanya ime devas
tasmai bhagavate namaha
tasmai bhagavate namaha tato prapyani vartanta Vachascha manasa saha aham chanya ime devas tasmai bhagavate namaha yato prapyani vartanta
yuto prapya navatanta
Vachascha manasa saha
vachascha manasa saha
aham chanya ime devas
chanya ime devas
tasmai bhagavate namaha
tasmai bhagavate namaha. Okay. There's no one else. Word for word. Yata.
Yato
From whom?
from whom?
Aprapya.
Aprapya
Being unable to measure.
being unable to measure.
Navat anta.
Vartanta
Cease to try.
cease to try.
Vacha.
Vacha
Words.
words.
Cha.
Cha
Also.
also.
Manasa.
Manasa
With the mind.
with the mind.
Saha.
Saha
With.
with.
Aham.
Aham
Cha.
cha.
Also the ego.
Also the ego.
Anye.
Anye
Other.
other.
Ime.
Ime
All these.
all this.
Deva.
Deva
Demigods.
demigods.
Tasmai.
Tasmai
Unto him.
unto him.
Bhagavate.
Bhagavate
Unto the personality of Godhead.
unto the personality of Godhead.
Namaha.
Namaha
Offer obeisances.
offer obeisances.
So, translation. I could actually do either one. Anyway, words, mind, and ego, with their respective controlling demigods, have failed to achieve success in knowing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, we simply have to offer our respectful obeisances unto Him as a matter of sanity. So please repeat. Words, mind, and ego,
Words, mind, and ego,
with their respective controlling demigods,
With their respective controlling demigods
have failed to achieve
have failed to achieve
success in knowing the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
success in knowing the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Therefore, we simply have to offer
Therefore, we simply have to offer
our respectful obeisances
our respectful obeisances
unto Him
unto Him
as a matter of sanity.
on the name of sanity.
Purport. The Froggish, the Froggish calculator may raise the objection that if the Absolute is unknowable even by the controlling deities of speech, mind, and ego, namely the Vedas, Brahma, Rudra, and all the demigods headed by Brihaspati, then why should the devotees be so interested in this unknown object? The answer is that the transcendental ecstasy enjoyed by the devotees in delineating the pastimes of the Lord is certainly unknown to non-devotees and mental speculators. Unless one relishes transcendental joy, naturally one will come back from his speculations and concocted conclusions, because he will see them as neither factual nor enjoyable. The devotees can at least know that the absolute truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu. As the Vedic hymns confirm, Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pashanti Surayaha, which means the absolute. Basically, is that Vishnu, Krishna, is the one, the absolute truth. Or the absolute truth is a person, Vishnu, Krishna, something like that. I saw a few translations of it. Bhagavad Gita 15:15 also confirms that this fact, Vedaischa sarva aham eva veja, by culture of Vedic knowledge, one must know Lord Krishna and should not falsely speculate on the word aham or I. The only method for understanding the supreme truth is devotional service, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 18:55. Bhakjanmam abhijananti yavan yas chasmin tatvataha. Only by devotional service can one know that the ultimate truth is the personality of Godhead, and that Brahman and Paramatma are only his partial features. This is confirmed in this verse by the great sage Maitreya. With devotion, he offers a sincere surrender, namaha, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavate. One has to follow in the footsteps of great sages and devotees like Maitreya and Vidura, Maharaj Pariksit and Sukadev Goswami, and engage in the transcendental devotional service of the Lord if one would know his ultimate feature, which is above Brahman and Paramatma. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 3rd canto, 6th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Creation of the Universal Form. Well, I mean, if you want, I'll go ahead and read the other verse as well. If that's the case, I thought for sure that she had done the 39. She said that she wasn't going to do 38. I can just go ahead and read it. Ato bhagavato maya mayanam appimohini yat svayam chatna vartatma naveda kim utapare. The wonderful potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is bewildering even to the jugglers. That potential power is unknown even to the self-sufficient Lord. So it is certainly unknown to others. I'll just read the purport too. Purport. The froggish philosophers and mundane wranglers in science, mathematical calculations, may not believe in the inconceivable potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they are sometimes puzzled by the wonderful jugglery of men in nature. Such jugglers and magicians of the mundane world are actually puzzled by the jugglery of the Lord in his transcendental activities, but they try to adjust their bewilderment by saying that it is all mythology. There is, however, nothing impossible or mythological in the Supreme Omnipotent Person. The most wonderful puzzle for the mundane wranglers is that while they remain calculating the length and breadth of the unlimited potency of the Supreme Person, his faithful devotees are set free from the bondage of material engagement simply by appreciating the wonderful jugglery of the Supreme in the practical field. The devotees of the Lord see the wonderful dexterity in everything with which they come in contact in all circumstances of eating, sleeping, working, etc. A small banyan tree fruit contains thousands of small seeds, and each seed holds the potency of another tree, which again holds the potency of many millions of such fruits as cause and effect. So the trees and seeds engage the devotees in meditation about the activities of the Lord, while the mundane wranglers waste time in dry speculation and mental concoction, which are fruitless in both this life and in the next. In spite of their pride in speculation, they can never appreciate the supreme potential activities of the banyan tree. Such speculators are poor souls, destined to remain in matter perpetually. They're destined to remain in this dead material energy perpetually. I heard from some, Colleen was reading something from us, a Catholic saint, Saint Teresa of Avila. She said her ultimate realization is that I'm a soul entrapped in a corpse. And, it's pretty, she's got something right there, and which is our actual situation. So, but I want to just read the next verse so it's in order then, and I apologize for the confusion. Words, mind, and ego, with their respective controlling demigods, have failed to achieve success in knowing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, we simply have to offer our respectful obeisances unto Him as a matter of sanity. So, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Agyanti Maranda Shakyanandana Salakaya. Chaksodim-litam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. What's interesting is the first part of the chapter, most of the chapter, Maitreya is explaining how the whole creation comes about and how it's all set up in a way that it's, as I mentioned last week, this is a prison house, but not the kind of prison house that just throws you in a hole behind bars and throws away the key forever. This is a reformatory. This is where everything's set up for a reformation. It may take lifetimes, but and you may get attached to certain aspects of it, but all the information is there, and it's set up in such a way that you only feel frustration. Your nature is to always be happy. Your nature is always to be in knowledge and never experience disease and old age and death. But that's not what this world is. So Krishna gives us a playground, a place to go, like a big, Disney World, and we go on all the rides and we go and do all these different things, and in the end, we're not happy with it. So, I lost my marker, but anyway. Here it is. Anyway. So, and so Maitreya explains it to Vidura very carefully, and up to about text 34 or so, and then from 35 on, after he finishes saying that this is how this whole universe is set up, and it's so vast and so great, but yet, we know that Krishna has told Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita that just with a fragment of myself, I maintain and support this universe. And when he talks about his various opulences, he said these are just little fragments, like gold dust, little particles of gold dust from a gold mine. It's very insignificant when you think of the vast, unlimited creation of this material, spiritual universes. Krishna's creating and maintaining. I mean, just in our one universe, that it's the smallest one, Krishna had 16,000 lives. In these other universes, they're much larger. He may have 16 million lives. He may have 16 trillion lives, all done very, very effortlessly. He creates palaces for each one of them. But these cantos now, the discussion of the creation is extremely important, because the empiric philosophers or the empiric scientists are trying to prove that this is the all in all. This material energy is the all in all. We are all matter. But they can't understand where consciousness comes from. And they do not have a reasonable explanation for the creation. Whereas the Vedas has everything. And when you accept that and you see, when you understand the Vedic knowledge, this is timeless knowledge we're hearing. This knowledge, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna that many, many millions of years ago, I instructed this same knowledge to the sun god. And then he instructed it in turn to his son, Ishvaku, and then on to Manu. You were there, and I can remember this, but you can't. And that actually fits in with the one verse, is it the 15 verse, Vedashcha Sarvaham, I have it right here, where Krishna says to Arjuna, says, I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of the Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. But so he He's the source of our remembrance, and He's the source of our forgetfulness. Sometimes people question, well, why do I have to go through all this? I mean, and then I forget when I die. And then I have to start all over again. One point Prabhupada makes is that if you remembered everything that you've done in the past, death is a very traumatic experience. If you kept walking around with that memory, like let's just say, in your last life, you owned, some major corporation. You build it up, and you're Bill Gates. You made Microsoft, and then you die, and then you come back. And when you come back, you're a janitor in the Microsoft. Nobody remembers you. But if you had the memory that, hey, wait a minute, I'm the guy who started all this. You don't remember me? I'm Bill Gates. Sure you are. Your name is John Smith. Got a Looney Tune here. This, Napoleonic complexes. He's thinking that he's some, but if you actually remembered it, it would be so difficult. You're watching everybody enjoy the fruits of your labor from your past life, and you're just some $7.25 an hour employee cleaning the floors at night. That would be extremely, or people that have been in really serious car accidents, they fortunately don't remember anything. Is that clock stopped? Is it stopped?
It's 7:58 now.
Well, it stopped at 20 of.
Yeah.
Time stopped. So, if you remembered what happened and how all the details of the car accident, it'd be very, very difficult to wake up and think about the pain and suffering that may have been caused to someone very dear to you. So Krishna protects us in that way. But he gives us hints. You used to like this. You have certain likes and dislikes. When you're born, all of a sudden, you don't know why you don't like Brussels sprouts, but I just don't like them. Or everyone else in the family does. I don't know why I don't like coffee. I can't stand the smell of it. But Krishna's reminding us of what we had in our past life. Occasionally, it gives us this information. So here Maitreya has just described the entire universal creation. It's so vast and so incredible, the way it's been created, that the only thing that's left to do at that point is to totally and completely surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and become His devotee. And he's saying that the next 5-6 verses, he's saying, I have only partially explained to you. I did the best I could. I couldn't quite remember. He was hearing it from Krishna to Uddhava, and he said, I'm trying to present it as much as I can, but my memory, I'm doing it the best I can, but it's so wonderful and so incredible. This is my best presentation. But the ultimate conclusion of this whole thing is that we all have to surrender. Because when we see how great the universe is and how great the Creator is, that He creates a tree, a banyan tree, with a fruit that has seeds in it, and that seed packed up in it is another huge banyan tree. Banyan trees are huge. We don't have them here, but they have them down in Miami and of course in India. They're tremendous trees, and each one of those seeds can create another tree, and every tree can create many more fruits. So basically, every seed has a whole forest of banyan trees packed up in it, when you look at it like that. Seed after seed after seed becoming tree after tree after tree. Krishna's packed it all up. Nobody can do that. No material scientist has come even close to creating anything like that. And even if they did come up with some small little kind of, plant or something, it's like if they used to have these soapbox cars. Remember those cars? We build them in a street, I don't know if you did it where you are. We would make, when we were like 8, 9, 10 years old, I think they call them soapbox cars. And do you remember them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I had a soapbox car, and you go to Henry Ford, what do you think? He's making millions of cars. You made one of this little soapbox car? Don't brag about it. There's nothing to be proud of here. He's got a factory producing millions of cars being sold all over the world. You got one little soapbox car that could, one little crash and it's finished with. So we are insignificant, and when listening to this, the creation of the universal form, you realize I am completely insignificant. There's nothing left for me to do but to bow down in complete humility and surrender without any motives, unconditionally, to purify the heart. And then we must, even though here is Vidura saying, not Vidura, Maitreya is saying, I don't feel adequate in presenting it, but I have to, because the consciousness is always active. It always has to, even while we're sleeping, the consciousness is dreaming of different things. You're even talking in your sleep. And if you don't talk about what you've heard from the pure devotees and from the sages, this timeless knowledge, you'll talk nonsense. You'll speculate forever and just talk pajalpa or gossip. This is like we're getting radio waves from the spiritual world. Like this morning, the Chaitanya Charitamrita Yogendra Prabhu was reading that when you're on the Harinam, when you're chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and dancing, you're in a bubble. This is a sound vibration that's coming from the spiritual world. This Bhagavatam is stationed Srimad Bhagavatam on the dial. You got to get the right frequency. The Bhagavad Gita is another. These are sound waves. Transcendental subdus, transcendental sound that's come down from the spiritual world over all the millenniums. Millions and millions of years, constantly the same knowledge without changing, without any adulteration. To purify us so that we can once again go back to our home and experience the real pleasure, the real joy. But we have to actually engage in the hearing and then the chanting. But there's a very interesting irony to this whole thing. In this verse it mentions Bhaktyamam Abhijananti, that the only way to become pure and get out of this material universe, this incredible creation, to get free from it and go back to our original position, is to engage in the devotional service of the Lord. That's what purifies our heart. So then, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvadhamma Prityaja Mamekam, that you surrender unto me, and I'll take care of you, I'll protect you. And so that means you should go out and preach, and explain what you've heard. And at the very next verse, it's very interesting, ironic. I don't know here. It says, the very next verse says, this confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted, or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is conscious of me, one who is envious of me. Let me read it again. This confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted, or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me. So first Krishna is saying you must engage in Bhakti Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga means Saranam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Smaranam, Atman Nivadanam, hearing, chanting, remembering, offering obeisances, worshipping the deity, serving as a friend, giving up everything. And then he's saying, but you can't preach to the envious. You can't, and Prabhupada says that just like when Kamsa, the more he heard about Krishna, the more he was thinking about how to kill him. Similarly, in modern days, modern civilization, the Bhagavad Gita is being used by rascals, saying that this is, it's a political thing. It's, like Gandhi tried to use it for his peace, nonviolent movement, and Others are saying, actually, no, this means that we're all God, and that you can become God. They all have these, they use the Bhagavad Gita because it's very famous, but they're envious of Krishna, and it's poison. And they're rascals. Prabhupada was specifically talking about someone by the name of Max Mueller in this one class he was giving in India. He was so fired up. He was just laying down the law. That this is taking Krishna's words to say that he is God and that we all can become God. And when you hear the glories of Krishna from a pure devotee, when you hear the universal form, Arjuna, he's looking at it and thinking, oh, please, I can't, this is so incredible. I can't take it all in. I just want to see the two-armed form. I'm so amazed. He's seeing everything everywhere. And everyone is rushing into his mouth, being devoured by this energy. So, it's too much for him to, and that's Arjuna, who's part of the Narayan incarnation. And Maitreya, who heard it from Krishna, is saying, I'm not doing any justice to this. This is so great. It's so vast. But yet it's still just a small fragment of Krishna's energy. Another interesting point, and then I'll end it, is that Vidura, who was Vidura in his last life? Or who is actually Vidura? Yamaraj. And why? Well, he was cursed by who? Markandeya. Yeah. Are you saying the same thing as I am?
No. Mandukya.
Manukya. I thought it was Markandeya Rishi. Oh, okay. Well then, never mind. Well, who is Manukya?
Yeah, he was taken to Yamaloka and he was told that you did some mistake in your childhood.
Right.
You pierced your hand.
Right.
So he cursed Yamaraj and became Shura.
So anyway, I want to bring up the point about Markandeya Rishi. Markandeya Rishi, he performed vast austerities, and he, in the end of performing these austerities, Krishna appears to him as Narayan, and he's completely satisfied. He doesn't have any desires for wealth. He doesn't have any desires for mystic powers. He has no desires for any kind of material opulences in any way, shape, or form. I am just satisfied drinking you in with my eyes. You're so beautiful. So Krishna says, but I must give you something. What is it that you would like? Well, the only thing I would like to see is how you create this material universe. I would like to see your entire material creation and understand how it is that the living entities get trapped in the material universe. And he goes through at least 1 or 2 days of Brahma and the dissolution. And Lord Shiva is so pleased with him that he is able to accomplish this, that he gives him this very nice boon. Because Lord Shiva had a similar desire, only thing is it turned out a little bit differently. So Markandeya Rishi had a similar situation where he wanted to see how the universe was created. What is this material creation? So he could understand and appreciate the potency of the Lord and remain humble, a humble servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and never think in any time that something belongs to me, that this is mine, and I own it and I control it, because it will be taken away from all of us. We are servants of the servants of the servants. We are stewards. We're allowed to be here for a while and use something for Krishna's pleasure, not for our own. And Vidura, wanted to hear. He wanted to, and then, because he's concerned about Dhritarashtra, but that's another whole story. Anyway, is there anything here that someone would like to respond to? Or have I spoken? What? I know. I use my mystic power to turn it off. I still got another 40 minutes. So, okay then. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.